Alright, we are starting the last episode, and it is a battle episode. Alright, so the three, I need everybody's attention. So the three things you need on your desk are episode 5, Civil War simulation, your journal, a pen or pencil, and one die. So here is the overview. Students finally get to experience an actual battle. This episode is based on a battle that took place during Union General George McClellan's campaign to defeat Confederate General Robert E. Lee and capture the Confederate capital of Richmond, Virginia in 1862. As in previous episodes, make sure students have the minor and major injury table and the infection table at hand, because there's a strong probability some people might die today. All right. Scenario 1, preparing to live and die. Do I have a volunteer who would like to read the box on page 57? All right, go ahead, Dustin.
June 25th, 1862. Another beautiful dawn breaks. Birds are singing in the swampy meadow that lies between the groves of trees where the opposing armies are camped. In his tent, General Robert E. Lee, commander of the Confederate Army, is planning a defense against an attack he expects to happen before the end of the day. He is convinced that the Union Army is trying to move its siege artillery within range of the Confederate capital city of Richmond. Both armies are already so close to Richmond that Lee can hear the city's church bells ringing in the clear morning air. He orders defenses to be built to repel an attack by the numerically superior Union Army.
That just means they have more members.
He is surprised that the Union Army has not yet struck, but the commander of the Union Army, General George McClellan, is waiting for his own reinforcements to arrive, even though he already has a sizable advantage in men and weaponry. The Confederate unit needs to build several kinds of defenses quickly. They need to dig trenches and use dirt to construct embankments. Dirt piled up high from behind. They need to chop down trees to build abatis, a network of cut trees to slow down the enemy.
Those are just like logs piled up. You can't just charge forward.
And to make palisades, sharpened sticks with points sticking up in the ground.
All right. Go ahead and turn the page over. Now, only half the people are going to spin this round because it's divided in Confederate and Union. So all the Confederate soldiers on this side, here's what's going to happen first. Page 58. To see if the Confederate Army has successfully built up their defenses, have every Confederate soldier make 2 spins. You're going to make a strength spin and a stamina spin. If a soldier spins a number equal to or lower than his or her strength number or stamina number, the spin is successful. For every successful spin, a soldier can ignore 1 injury in the upcoming battle, because injuries will probably occur, and you can avoid up to 2 injuries. However, if on both attempts a soldier spins a number higher than his or her strength or stamina number, the defenses he or she is hiding behind is not strong enough to protect her. The soldier is just as vulnerable as if she were standing out in the open. So every Confederate soldier, go ahead and make 2 spins now. Everyone on the Union side, just go ahead and hang out until they're done. It'll only take a second. So go ahead and do that now. Go ahead and take 90 seconds to finish that. No good?
I have 4.
Is that for your strength? Alright, now make a stamina 1. It's not looking good. Oh, okay. Only got 1. If you do, to the Confederate side, if you are successful, make a little note next to it how many injuries you can avoid. If you're successful twice, you can avoid 2. If you're only successful 1, make a little note, you can avoid 1 injury.
So it's stamina. You're right. So,
So make a little note somewhere you can avoid 2 injuries. You can't avoid any?
no, I can avoid one, but I'm going to die to
Okay. Just gonna charge in like Rambo.
Oh, yes, well, like, only on weekends.
Oh, I like them.
Will you spin? You can either do one injury. One. All right. Has anybody on the Confederate side not spun yet? Excellent. All right, we're moving on. Get everybody's attention. We're moving on. Scenario 2. This is on page 58. We have another volunteer who'd like to read The Battle of Oak Grove. Go ahead.
Do I read the,
Have the
have the Union Regiment and Confederate Regiment send information on opposite sides of the war?
All right, we're already doing that.
In this scenario, the narrative goes back and forth between the North and South. Each section of the narrative will be labeled Union Army or Confederate Army, depending on which side is supposed to take action during the particular section. In other words, if a spin is required in a section labeled Union Army, only Union soldiers are supposed to make a spin.
All right, so there's some sections only Confederates are going to do, other sections only Union side's going to do. All right, keep reading where it says June 25th, 1862.
June 26th, Battle of Oak Grove begins with a massed artillery barrage by the Union Army. General George McClellan, commander of the Union Army, has ordered his cannons to blast the newly built southern defense. With their greater range, the Union cannons start blasting away from their side of the woods in the early afternoon. In the meantime, the Union soldiers are massed in the woods at the edge of the woods, waiting for the signal to advance across the open area. Look around at the nervous, sweaty faces of the other soldiers and check your weapon and ammunition before the booming of the cannons behind you startled you. You see huge spouts of dirt shoot into the air where the Confederates have dirt positions. The order to advance should be coming soon.
All right, so this is just for the Confederate Army again. This is what's going to happen. The Battle of Oak Grove begins with the sight of cannon smoke puffing from the woods across the meadow. A few seconds later, the shrill scream of an incoming cannonball has everyone diving into the trenches for cover. The earth shakes as the cannonballs crash and explode. The barrage of cannon fire increases in intensity as the Union artillery finds the exact range to the Confederate defenses. Dirt flies in the air and shattered palisades spin in every direction. Splintered logs turn into deadly shrapnel, shredding everything around them. So here's what the Confederate side is going to do. All Confederate soldiers must make a common sense spin as they try to take cover from the flying shrapnel. So, if a soldier spins his common sense number or lower, he avoids being injured. But, if a soldier spins a number higher than his common sense number, he has been hit by the flying shrapnel. Remember, a soldier who has made a successful strength and or stamina spin in the first scenario can avoid up to 2 injuries. So if you are injured by the shrapnel, you can choose to avoid it. However, if you did not make a successful spin your first time, you cannot avoid the injury and you are wounded. So here's what will happen. You're going to spin again, and if you roll a 1 to 4, you get a minor injury, and you're going to turn to the minor injury table on page 27 and follow along with the correct directions. But if you spin a 5 or 6, you are going to make a major injury spin on the major injury table and see what happens there. After you do that, everyone is also going to make a morale spin. So all Confederate soldiers now need to make a morale spin. If a soldier